going, everybody? So we have a fun review today as we're talking Pretty Little Liars Summer School, aka Season 2 of Original Sin. Now, I was kind of late to the party when it comes to Original Sin. I wasn't watching it while it was airing on HBO Max, but I heard a lot of great buzz around it, so I finally got around to it before Season 2 started. So as you can imagine, I'm really excited to dive into this series full on. Now, full disclosure, Max only sent the first 5 episodes of the season, so I have not seen the entire series, but I've seen a good chunk of it. Still, regardless though, it's going to be spoiler free because the first couple episodes of the series do not drop until May 9th on Max. Still taking some getting used to calling it Max and not HBO Max. Much like many horror sequels, Pretty Little Liars Summer School does try to amplify basically everything that we liked about Season 1. Bigger drama, bigger stakes, but also more terror and kills, and succeeding quite well in many respects. The series does pick up essentially right after Original Sin concluded. Episode 1 serves more so as an epilogue to Original Sin, kind of tying up a lot of the loose ends before fully transitioning into Summer School. Some of the loose ends that we tie up from Season 1, kind of wiping the slate clean, did feel a little bit anticlimactic. However, from Episode 2 onward, this show gets pretty wild. Honestly, it was pretty refreshing, mainly thanks to how the series does a pretty solid job evoking this fun summertime slasher vibes within its narrative. I am kind of a sucker though for summertime themed slashers. We don't get a whole lot of them these days. Season 2 attempts to juggle a lot of different storylines, yet manages consistently to keep things intriguing thanks to how great this core group of girls are, these 5 final girls as they're called. Regardless of whether or not some of their individual storylines I wasn't a big fan of, which I'm gonna get to eventually, I just love this core group of characters. The dynamic between all 5 of these girls just brings so much charm to the show. Mostly, I just really love their friendship, and seeing the bond of this group continue to evolve, growing a lot stronger despite the constant danger with another threat trying to kill them. Due to that danger element being so high in almost every episode, it does raise the stakes a lot because there are a lot of close calls where I wasn't sure if some of these girls were going to actually make it out alive. That doesn't mean that the show is entirely dreary horror either. Many of the different characters get some pretty spicy summer flings that add to the entertaining chaos going on. Much like any horror slasher, when they add new characters to the roster, I do get a little suspicious of them. I can't help it, being a slasher fan and it being a whodunit kind of slasher. As fun as some of these new characters are, there's engineered moments here where start side-eyeing them a little bit because they seem like they could be possible suspects.
A very simple formula! Everybody's a suspect!
In shows like this, the horror aspect can kind of make or break it when it comes to that audience, and I think Original Sin did a pretty solid job incorporating horror into the Pretty Little Liars universe. But when it comes to Summer School, I think they double down on a lot of those horror elements in at least ways that I prefer. One of the biggest ways is in how differently Bloody Rose Waters factors into the story. Eventually, over time, with the girls, we learn a lot more about the lore behind the character of Bloody Rose Waters, building up a lot of mystery and intrigue with the character, and it's chillingly executed. I gotta commend them for that. All of that build up for Bloody Rose Waters' character leads to a lot of intensity every time that she does appear, leading to some nerve-wracking sequences. Plus, the show keeps you guessing a lot on where exactly Bloody Rose Waters is, or who she's going to target next, so oftentimes you're kind of on your toes on who's going to have to play a game next. There are some pretty close calls amongst the bunch. Almost every single character I can think of is put in some dangerous situation with Bloody Rose. It's a vastly different antagonist compared to Archie Waters in Season 1, where he was kind of the muscle, the brute force. And what Bloody Rose lacks in that, she makes up for in being clever and crafting games, some of which did feel very reminiscent to something you would see in Jigsaw. I kid you not, there's a couple instances with the notes and the traps where I thought I was in a Saw film for a second there. That doesn't mean though that she doesn't get her hands dirty. She manages to rack up a pretty high body count hunting down people herself. Similar to last season, there is a major through-line storyline, while each girl has their own individual storyline, and some of which I did find more interesting than others. Out of the group, all biases aside, because she's a film lover like myself, Tabby is one that I think had one of the best stories. Continuing to juggle her love for film, creating a short film that causes some drama in her life that she has to unpack. A major fun development for her story is a new employee who she works with, who basically is the male version of herself, and due to that, I think it adds a fun dynamic to her arc. House's storyline is another one that I thought was very entertaining. She kind of serves as the true investigator of the group, adding strength to the mystery elements of the story, mainly all the details that swirl around Bloody Rose Waters, doing her best to try and dig up answers on the web, on a website that is very clearly modeled after creepypasta, except for this one is called Spooky Spaghetti. I kid you not, the in-universe Pretty Little Liars creepypasta is Spooky Spaghetti. The strongest member of these final girls, and it's kind of how I felt about Season 1 as well, it has to go to Imogen. Out of everyone, I think Imogen's story has the most complexity to it. Some of that praise definitely is due to Bailey Madison's performance. I feel like she makes an excellent effort showcasing the inner and outer struggles of everything that Imogen has had to endure to this point, highlighting how the buildup of all of this trauma has taken its toll on the character, trying her hardest to persevere and thrive regardless of the stressful situation that's put in front of her. That's on top of bringing some fun levity with some genuinely hilarious moments, especially in some of the scenes that she has with the girls or with her summer fling, or the fact that she's forced to be in a different summer school class than the rest of the girls. Even though the show is called Summer School, they don't really spend a whole lot of time in summer school. Also, on another note, I just think it's pretty nice that she doesn't have to run around pregnant this entire season. Unfortunately, at least for now, you gotta remember I've only seen the first 5 episodes. I did kind of find Noah and Farron's story to be the least enjoyable. Noah's story kind of just boils down to development. I felt like out of the 5 girls, not much is given to her story-wise, so there's not truly much to sink your teeth into. While Farron is a complicated one because I think the performance that they're giving is fine. I actually like how Farron tries to enjoy life away from dance. She's given this lifeguard storyline that just kind of drags. Arguably the same could be kind of said for Kelly's storyline. Kelly has this sort of weird religious angle that pops up here and there throughout the season. Most often it just feels kind of distant to the main storyline going on and doesn't really feel needed. You could have probably cut out the majority of Kelly's scenes and the story wouldn't change much. A major thing I feel people are going to be very excited about is the fact that Dr. Sullivan is in season 2 of this show, who many of us, if you're not well aware, is from the original Pretty Little Liars. She does fit in pretty well with the ongoing story, acting as a way to kind of link the franchise together in a fun way. It's definitely a role I wouldn't describe as a glorified cameo or anything. I'd say she's a pretty important supporting character, playing a far more important role in the girl's story than I originally anticipated. I definitely feel if you enjoyed Original Sin, you're going to be just as entertained, if not more so, by the direction that Pretty Little Liars Summer School goes. The drama and horror are ramped up even further, and with how the mystery unravels each week, it gives you just enough to get you locked in to find out what happens next. Though I've only seen the first 5 episodes of the show, each episode has some genuinely good tension and good cliffhanger endings. I'm excited to talk about the show with you guys on the channel once the episodes do start dropping May 9th on Max. If I remember correctly, the first 2 episodes drop, and then it's going to be 1 episode per week for the rest of the season. But now I've heard my thoughts on this series. Once you get a chance to check out Pretty Little Liars Summer School, share your thoughts down below. How'd you feel about the series? Did you like the series? Did you not like the series? If you have any thoughts or theories where we're going to go with the show once you watch, I'd also love to know those as well. Either way, thank you guys so much for checking out the videos. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you like on the video and also subscribe to the channel to update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Till next time, I'll see you guys later.